think a lot about this and I just said okay. She said she would text the location and time details in some time. After I hung up, I felt this uneasiness, like why she didn't want me to visit home. I mean yes, it doesn't matter where you meet but still, meeting your family after so many years, don't you think you would call them home instead of meeting them at a restaurant? Nevertheless, she sent me the details of the restaurant and it was one of the fanciest restaurants in town. I didn't think much at that time because my mind was stuck at the point that they didn't invite me home. I went to the restaurant. They were already there. My sisters rushed to hug me. For a moment I was happy to see them after so many years. I was having fun catching up with them until the menu came and they started ordering the food. They deliberately were looking for the priciest food. When they asked my father what he wanted, he just grinned and said, "Order the most expensive one, my son is a big man now." That was so petty of him to say that. Had John or Mary said this, I would have been a proud son, but this coming from my biological parents was mean and wicked. There was nothing I could do. I sat there, watching them gorging over the food, plundering my wallet. Yes, I paid the bill too. There were very wild thoughts running in my mind, like ghosting them before the bill, but that would have been too severe for them. I pledged right there never to get into their emotional trap again. I was cold for the rest of the evening and I bet they didn't notice it. While leaving also, they didn't invite me home. Instead, my elder sister asked, "So where are we dining next?" I faked a smile and said, "Nowhere," and waved them goodbye. I came back and told Mary about my greedy family. She was shocked to know that. She's a very kind and independent woman. She found all these to be very disturbing. She advised me not to be a fool again and also not to think too much about them and to focus on my life. I did that. My sisters called me after a week or so but I didn't respond to them. My mother also called me but I didn't respond. It's been 2 months since then and now they stopped texting or calling me. I think they got my hint that I didn't want them in my life. Update 2. Hello everyone. Thanks for all the love. As I mentioned in my last post, I stopped responding to my sisters and my biological parents because I understood they wanted me only for the money. Almost after 5 months, yesterday, she called me again. I saw the phone ringing and I answered it impromptu. She began with small talk, asking about me and my work. It sounded so fake and pretentious that I couldn't bear it. I asked her what did she want. She took a deep breath and said my sisters had to drop out of college and because dad couldn't pay their tuition fees. So, they wanted me to fund their college education. I flipped out. She asked me to calm down and said they were my sisters, my family and I should help them. I was at work at that time and didn't want to mess up my head so I hung up. She called me again in the evening. I ignored the call a few times but it was bothering me. Ignoring was not the solution, I realized. The next time she called, I answered. She asked, "Your sisters are very excited to rejoin their college. So, how are we going about it? Will you be paying it one shot or semester-wise? I suggest you transfer the whole amount to me and I will pay the tuition before each semester. You don't need to take the trouble." I was like, "Whoa, hold on lady. I'm not gonna make any payments." She was so surprised. She didn't expect no to be an answer. She asked, "What do you mean? You don't want to pay it a shot? It's fine, we can manage in installments as well." I repeated, "I don't want to pay it in either way. My elder sister's education is not my responsibility, especially when my parents had abandoned me and never checked up on me. Even now, you guys are talking to me just because you could leech on my money." She was boiling with anger and lost her mind at my words. She said, "Don't you forget that we birthed you. Whatever you are is because of us. Your dad found a good guardian for you and now when it's your time to repay us, you cannot shy away from your responsibilities. Your sisters and your parents are your responsibilities and you have to take care of all of us." I had a lot to say but it was just falling on deaf narcissistic ears. So I just said, "Well, yes, I do owe a lot to my parents, that is John and Mary, they deserve all the credit for success. And for you guys, I don't know who you are. None of my documents have your name, nor do I have any photographs with you folks, so I don't think I know you all." She was hurling abuses at me but I said, "Wrong number, lady," and hung up. Now, whatever you call me, selfish, cruel, or whatever, I'm not going to shower my hard-earned money on my so-called family. They were never my family. They got rid of me when I was just 6. And yes, I got comments in my last updates that I called John and Mary by their names and not mom and dad. Actually, I do call them mom and dad, not immediately after coming to them but when they got me to school and worked hard to provide for my needs and loved me, I got attached to them and called them mom and dad. For the sake of narrating the things here, I referred to them by their names. John and Mary are my actual mom and dad and for my biological parents, I don't call them anything, they don't exist for me. Now on to the next story.